Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I've come live on this beautiful day, solstice, and over the next 24 hours, the energy is going to probably be very intense for many of you. I've thought I'd come live just to share some insight on solstice and any messages that my beloved guide would like to impart. First and foremost, greetings on this day, solstice, which forms part of the great procession of the equinox and the 4 seasons. So if you look at the solstice and the equinox, they are markers of the 4 corners, the 4 directions, the 4 seasons. They are what creates the shifts within the universe, the galaxy, and upon this planet, and has been in place since the beginning of time and timeless. So let's go back to the grand rising of the sun, the grand rising of the Nile, the age of Leo, back in 10,843 BC. The Grand Rising, the great birth of Amun-Ra, and the birthing of this very present root race. For we have many cycles upon this earth, and these cycles govern each and every root race. This present root race took precedence after the great fall of Atlantis. So solstice is a celebration for the great rising of the sun. And many metaphors that take place, and each and every pantheon, civilization, culture will have a resonance with this energy and light. So as we are connecting with solstice, there is a change of movement of the sun as the sun moves across the equator, creating that balance of north and south, masculine, feminine, dark and light, black and white, and the great polarity is playing a part in this great cycle. The polarity is part of universal law in motion, and it is assisting us as souls when we take this incarnation to evolve, to grow, to understand the very essence of duality, and through this understanding of duality, we are more able and capable to come into that oneness, to come into our own sense of divinity. Solstice is celebrated far and wide, and in ancient times, stone circles were created to measure the movement of the sun. So when you connect with sites such as Stonehenge and many stone circles, that the land that I am talking from, the UK, presents many stone circles that go back, way back into ancient history. They measure the time they measure the solstice. And this is how the ancients used these stone circles. So many people today will congregate to Stonehenge to celebrate solstice. It is an ancient tradition. And they will see at Stonehenge the sun rising and the sun setting in certain positions within those stone circles. We also connect during this solstice time the element of balance. Balance in our everyday life, balance in society, and balance in our spiritual growth and evolution. And there are many factors of this balance and creating this balance. And this is exactly what is the result of neutralization and integration of polarity, the law of polarity. But also understanding the law of polarity, we can also get to understand all the other universal laws in motion. For it is the universal laws that assist us in our growth, evolution, and everyday life. Solstice also works with the elements and life force itself. It governs life force. So if you look at solstice and the movement of the sun around the planet, around the zodiac, around the galaxy, around the even around the universe as a whole, it's governed by life force. Every planet is governed by life force. Solstice is governed by water and fire. These elements are very much at the heart of solstice. And it also was a part and a role to play in ancient civilizations, such as ancient Greece and Roman societies, where they would be working right inside these elements and make offerings in the temples. So as we are working with this energy, so the solstice energy, what are we called to do? We are called to come into ourselves, to connect with ourselves, to understand what our role and our mission is. It is the light that we hold within ourselves. And it's from within ourselves that we turn that light and we shine that bright. And this is exactly what the sun represents. It represents light. As we are moving forward, certainly in this life cycle, those who are working on the healing path will get to understand how much the journey of healing is taking precedence in our everyday lives. And those of us who are on spiritual journey, spiritual path, and working with spirit, working with the essence of healing, working with the essence of Akashic, we understand that everything is connected. So as we are journeying through life, we understand that through the Akashic and through the Akashic history, will bring together both the healing and the connection and the understanding of the great web that we create life after life. And as we come into this greater understanding, we are able to shift, we are able to heal, we are able to enter into a much higher consciousness. We are also able to connect through these means with the unseen world. So there are many symbols and blessings that the solstice brings to us this day. And to connect with this energy today and to promote it in our everyday lives, we are more able and capable of expanding and growing in our everyday lives and spiritually. On my path with Horus, I have come to know a lot of hidden depth. And this is one of the reasons why I've come today to speak about solstice. One from an ancient point of view and one in our everyday lives. For solstice is what binds everything together as one. Solstice, we are called to return to the Omega point. The Omega point is the completion, the ending. And when we return to that, we return to that with higher level of consciousness and understanding and awareness. And the connections that we are bringing together, unfolding in this particular cycle. For many of us ancient ones are understanding that we are tying up loose ends within our Akashic. And this is what has transpired for some of the soul connections, certainly for me, and also for some of the soul connections I've encountered on my spiritual journey, and especially the lovely souls that I'm mentoring at this time, who are committed to the path and journey. They understand that we are closing things out. So what happens at solstice from an etheric point of view? We hold a Karmic Board, which is an etheric council that governs and sits and works with the law of karma. And that it is they call it the 42. And it is the 42 lords and ladies that will sit on the Karmic Board. And right at the heart of the law of karma and Dharma is the 42 laws of Mat. And this is something that I, in this lifetime, have been encoded with. I've been encoded with 42. And that is because that is an essence of my past life. Akashic with Horus. During our lifetimes as Thoth and Mat. And this is one of the reasons why this particular week I drew Hermes. I'm just going to quickly show you Hermes. So I actually painted him this week. Nothing is by surprise. So Hermes is the alignment with Thoth. So the Egyptians will call Hermes Thoth. And Hermes is the Greek name of Thoth, which is to do with wisdom. But it's an emanation of Horus. And Thoth Hermes wears the winged helmet. And the wings on his helmet symbolize eagle, because it is the essence of the eagle and the eagle spirit which he carries. He carries the falcon, the hawk, the eagle energy, which means it's the bearer of the message, the carrier of the message. And when we are taking ourselves deeper within ourselves, we are more able and capable of connecting up with the divine, the divinity, our own sense of divinity, our higher selves, our archetypes, those qualities that we hold. So where do we go? We go straight into the heart, because it's through the heart chakra everything is being made manifest. It's not the mind, it's the heart. So when we connect with spirit, we connect with healing. Where do we go? We go straight into the heart. Our mind does not take any form of precedence when we are connecting with the spirit world, or when we are connecting with healing or the Akashic Records. The Emerald Gateway is a symbol of the connection with the Akashic Records, the Akashic, your personal Akashic. The Emerald Gateway sits right in the center of your heart chakra. It is the green of your heart. So as we are going into that space, we are enabling us to connect more fully, to heal more fully, to understand more fully. The healing journey is not an overnight process. I say this to anyone that comes to me for a healing session. If you want to heal, what is it you want to heal? What is it you want to achieve from these sessions? Because it's not an overnight journey. And any Reiki master, and I say Reiki master, or spiritual healer, will actually guide on this process. As I'm a Reiki master, I prefer to be called a spiritual healer and a teacher in the spiritual healing remit, because as I will guide this to all my students. In the healing and connection, there are many tools that will be part of the activation and the knowledge into the much wider sphere. So healing is massive. There's a massive wealth of knowledge. Reiki is a tiny little tool that connects you in to the much wider. The oracle cards and tarot are psychic tools. Psychic tools that will help the connection. However, if you're working as a medium, a spirit medium, we don't have any tarot cards, we don't have any oracle cards, because we don't need them. We are delivering the message, the evidence from the spirit world. We are working with the communicator, and the communicator will be at our side, and we as a medium will be creating the link with the spirit. This is not the same as psychic work, or even working with collective consciousness. And the working with collective consciousness is what you will see many of these channels doing in the New Age movement, because channeling is not the same as trance mediumship. Trance mediumship is where we are taken into the theta by our guide, And as we could do it by self-induction, or through via our spirit guide, through spirit-induced trance, and the spirit communicator, i.e. when I trance, the spirit of Horus and his emanations, i.e. life forms, whatever he would like to present himself as, will come in and speak through me. Elaine steps to one side, he comes in and speaks. This is a massive difference to what you will see in New Age movement, where they think they are channeling the Ascended Masters. And this, again, the Ascended Masters are different emanations of Horus and other high beings. And this is where we are learning and filtering out distortions now that are being created through cult organizations within the New Age movement. So the understanding of the Akashic Records gives us greater sense of understanding and power and empowerment to know sacred truth. Thus increases your evolution and higher consciousness to understand a much higher level of understanding. Thus you are able and more capable to discern. Discernment comes through knowledge and wisdom and experience. So trance and channeling are different. Let me explain channeling. When I sit here with the healing energy and I want to channel healing energy from life force or source, I'm channeling. If I want to connect to an emanation of my higher self, right? The understanding of the higher self is not a connection with someone that sits right outside of yourself. It's the connection with yourself. Your higher self is you. It's you in past life emanations. It's you from ancient times. This is the part of you that you connect with, the qualities that you connect with. So when I'm talking about to go deep within, to go into yourself, into your inner knowledge, through your Akashic, there you will discover the true essence of your higher self and not seek something that's sitting outside of you. Because the soul, the spirit, in every single aspect, journey, whatever, has a sacred and divine mission. Each and every one of us has good lives, or bad lives, or negative lives. It doesn't matter what type of life that you are embodying, as long as you are evolving, as long as you understand it. A lot of people will ask on this journey, and I see a lot of people ask, especially in the spiritual communities, is why is it that the soul comes down with amnesia and not remembering elements of their past lives, or have a full remembering, conscious remembering of who they are? If you as a soul came down and you wasn't ready, and you landed up knowing every aspect of your soul history, how would you be able to manage and live in the now? If you as a soul had remembering of every single lifetime and how you died, and the traumas that you carried from each and every one of those lifetimes, and you are bringing that into the now, how would you be able to live? I have uncovered nearly, well, I would say probably more than 400 of my past lives. People will ask me, how have you managed it? How do I manage it? One, I am connected straight with the spirit of Horus, who shows me things. I'm also have to work in balance and neutrality. I have worked, even in this lifetime, with souls that Horus and I have encountered in past life, both from a positive sense and from a negative sense. I see these connections that I make as a healing tool, not just for me, but for also that other person, that other soul. It is a healing tool. We have to be in neutrality. And it takes a soul that has had the experience of connection to be able to understand what it is like to have this great sense of knowledge. Because I have this great sense of knowledge, it has its good points and it has its not very good points. The positive points for me is I am able to see more clearly into divine and sacred truth, to understand energy, to understand the evidence of the spirit, the Akashic of the spirit. On the other downside is that people I come across and I advise them, maybe you're not in truth. Maybe you need to go and look within. Maybe you have an identity crisis because you are adopting a name and an energy that is not your own. You need to go and look deeper within yourself and not adopt a name, which you can see it very clearly on social media. Right across social media, people will adopt a name that's they haven't chosen in this lifetime. Because when we are connecting with the Akashic Records, we are working authentically. We understand in the life between lives. At Soul Council, we sit prior to incarnation to plan the lessons, to understand the karmic links that is going to influence from other lifetimes, that will influence in this lifetime. We will choose a name. We choose our name. We choose our family members. Often some of these family members may be part of our soul group, or they could be individuals that we have decided to come in to balance off the karma. We choose our birth name. Our birth name carries a frequency and a code that connects us to our divine blueprint. Our date of birth operates in the same orchestration. Our date of birth will have meaning, coding, understanding, and links our soul force to our divine blueprint. It's our identity. And this is something that we see today in society, right across the board, having an identity crisis. This happened at the fall of Atlantis, an identity crisis, the coveting of other people's names, titles, abilities, etc. This only happens when we are seeking outside of ourselves. This could be a spiritual, and it happens a lot in the spiritual communities, this spiritual identity theft. We also see it in society, on the world stage. People are involved in identity theft because there is an agenda behind that identity theft. They're not in truth. There is a hidden agenda. So the light of truth expands. This solstice energy invites you to connect with the light of truth, enabling you to come into balance, enabling you to connect with yourself, to understanding yourself more fully, to connect with your qualities and abilities and not seek it outside of yourself. I leave you with every blessing. Thank you. Namaste.